Órale, Cholo Chuck, los tres chingones boxing shots, all the chingones y chingonas. All right, man. So, why am I live today, man? Is there not going to be a live tomorrow? Yes, there's definitely going to be a live tomorrow, but I want to go live today to talk about this just because I know the boys don't really follow women's boxing too much. So I know they, they weren't really going to be able to take a, deep dive into what's going on, man. But I find it pretty damn interesting in what's going on here. And I am a fan of this fight. I am a fan of this trilogy. And we got history in the making here, Holmes. I just want to go ahead and touch on it because it does interest me at the very least. And hang on, let me move something right here. Spencer. Okay. And that is that there's gonna be, I guess for the first time ever, there's gonna be an all women's boxing event, right? On Netflix, headlined by the trilogy of Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor 3. And man, I'm a fan of this fight. Like the second fight to me wasn't as good, but I still enjoyed it to a certain degree. The first fight I thought was just damn. To me, that was fight of the year right there. That was fight of the damn year right there. So something that's been going on here that's a little bit different for these ladies. All right. Um, like since they've been fighting each other when they first met and everything, it's all been good. It's all been great. It's all been, very respectful, and it still, it still is. There's no hatred, but now there's like at least a very little back and forth going on with these ladies, which brings a little bit more excitement to it because they've been, like I said, extremely nice to each other and extremely respectful, which I can respect. However, the press conference, I liked it, man. I liked it, and I definitely want to get into what they were saying. So let me go ahead and let me bring it up right here. Shout outs to Fight Hub TV, man. But let's go ahead and see how it started here. Watch out.
Eddie Hearn why this fight wasn't going to be 12 3-minute rounds. And he said because Katie didn't want to give up undisputed. The WBC will not recognize her in this fight if that were to be the case. Do you respect that decision, or do you feel like she owes you those 12 3-minute rounds?
All right. So Amanda Serrano, a while back, went ahead and had a 12. Good gosh. She had a 12-round 3-minute fight, right? She went 12 rounds, 3 minutes a piece, right? Just like the dudes do. And I know she's been an advocate for that. Personally, I don't like it. We'll get to that in a second. But for this fight right here, she was saying, hey, we should do the same thing, go 12 rounds, 3 minutes apiece. And Katie Taylor said, chale. Now, when Amanda Serrano had to do that in another fight, she had to relinquish the WBC because the WBC would not sanction that fight for 12 rounds. So she had to release the belt. And that's what he's talking about here.
Listen, well, we shook on it. If you can roll the tapes, we shook on it. She didn't agree.
All right. So basically, she's saying that her and Katie Taylor shook on it, that they will go 12 rounds.
When we went to sign the contract. Listen, I believe I was undisputed champion, and I believe I wanted to fight 3 minutes, 12 rounds. I believe women can do it. We're capable of doing it, as you saw. And WBC said no. So I had to give up one of my babies. I worked hard for that belt. I worked hard for all my belts. They decided they weren't going to go with it, so I had to give it up. I had to go with what I believed in, and I believed in the 12 threes. So if that's her choice, then that's her choice. But I believe hardly that women should get the recognition and the equality that the men get.
Thank you, Amanda.
All right. Let me go ahead and say this, man. Um, I'm not really so sure that if women's boxing goes 12 3-minute rounds, that it's some way gonna start blowing up. Actually, on the contrary, me myself personally, right? Because I have heard people say like, "Hey, man, they should go, 12 3-minute rounds, just like the guys. It'd be a better fight, and we're robbed by knockouts and things like that." Personally, I actually like it. I actually like 10 2-minute rounds. I do. Not a lot of time to mess around. Get right to the action. I actually like that a little bit more.
My second question for you, Amanda, is right along the lines of Ariel's. Obviously, this is a big moment for you, but the fans are going to ask. So when you hear Alicia say, hey, you never know what could happen, does that rub you the wrong way in any way, or it's fair game? Hey, it's boxing.
Listen, this is boxing. Right now, I have Katie.
All right, hold on. Let me move it forward a little bit. All right. I want to hear what Katie had to say.
One of these people
Hold
uses
on
the
there.
new.
All right, we got to get through this damn stupid commercial here. Hang on. All right. But anyway, I like the fact that it's 10 2-minute rounds. I do, dog. I think it brings something different and it makes it more exciting for me. I don't want it to be what I don't want it to be the same. And I don't think, in all reality, like I was saying, I don't think that if it's thrown out there, okay, from now on, women go 12 3-minute rounds. I don't think that's really gonna shake the world where people are just now gonna start tuning in to women's boxing. Basically, basically the world is saying, you know what? I would so watch women's boxing. I'd be a huge fan of women's boxing, but they go 10 2-minute rounds. So that's why I'm not a fan. Like, nah, chale, dog. All right, let's go. Let's get back into this. Let me bring this back up. Here we go. Okay. This is where Katie comes
I'm
in.
enjoying it now, but I really like enjoying seeing the other women grow in the sport and make their money and make their path into greatness. So we'll see. Never know.
Thank you, Amanda.
If you want to give Katie an opportunity to respond to that 3-minute question, she said that you guys shook on it. What's your response to that?
I think we shook on it depending on if you won the fight, but regardless, I think it was a matter of principle that the challenger shouldn't be dictating the terms of the fight.
Hey, okay, real quick. I like Katie Taylor. I'm a fan of Katie Taylor. I know she's Irish, so she's gonna have that accent. But I haven't really heard too many Irish talk the way she talks. She talks like with a yodel, like yodelehu, right? She talks like with a yodel, man. All right.
I think we shook on it depending on if you won the fight, but regardless, I think it was a matter of principle that the challenger shouldn't be dictating the terms of the fight. I am 2-0 here, and I'm in the driving seat here, and that's only right. At the end of the day, Amanda needs this fight a lot more than I do. I have a long history of big fights against big names, and a line of people queuing up to fight me for the payday. So
Listen,
in
you
that
can't
context,
say you're a real fighter and never want to do the 3. You shook on it, not knowing if I was gonna win or lose, Katie. I respect you.
This is the first time that I have ever seen them kind of go back and forth like this. I'm not trying to exaggerate and saying that, wow, they're really going at it with each other, but they do have a disagreement, and I give both of their sides.
Respect you, and I will continue to respect you in and out the ring, Katie. But we did shake on it, not knowing. And if you say that it's you call the shots, you could have called the shots that day. You shouldn't have shook my hand if you wasn't gonna.
You need this fight a lot more than I do, Amanda.
You know that if we have an extra minute, it won't go your way.
I think the point of a 3-minute round was to prove to people that you get more knockouts. How many knockouts did you get in your 12 3-minute rounds? 0. They ended up being boring fights, and it was.
Oh man. If you guys didn't hear what she said, she told Amanda, uh, how many knockouts did you get in your 12 3-minute fights? 0. Let me back you up just a little bit.
Call the shots that day. You shouldn't have shook my hand if you wasn't gonna.
You need this fight a lot more than I do, Amanda.
You know
You
that
need
if
this
you have
fight.
if we have an extra minute,
At
it
the
won't
end of
go
the day,
your way.
I think the point of a 3-minute round was to prove to people that you get more knockouts. How many knockouts did you get in your 12 3-minute rounds? 0. They ended up being boring fights, and it was a good advertisement for a 12 3-minute round fight for women. It was boring. So I don't think Netflix are too disappointed this fight is a 10 2-minute round fight.
Damn. She went in, dog.
One quick
She went in on her. And you know what? Okay, she's not lying, but neither is Amanda, though. Okay, so here's the thing. You know, if they shook hands and they agreed just on a handshake, on like, hey, if we throw down in a trilogy, we'll make sure that it's 12 3-minute fights. Okay, that's a handshake. It's not a contract. Now, these are hyenas, dog. I don't care what you want to call me, whatever, but I mean, it's a woman's handshake. You know what I mean? To me, it's not the same if two men shake hands and have an agreement. I don't care how you view that. If I'm a male chauvinist pig, whatever, dog. I don't give a damn. But to me, the woman's handshake is different. When two men shake hands and have an agreement and each man gives themselves the word, that should be solid. That should mean more than a freaking contract with lawyers and courtrooms and any of that nonsense, dog. In this case, I don't know, dog. I'm not really putting too much weight into it. However, I do respect Amanda Serrano saying like, "Hey, we shook on it. You agreed, so hey, you know what I mean? That's what happened." Now, when it came time to it, now you're just kind of like, "No, let's just do the 10 2-minute rounds." What Katie was talking about and her bringing in Netflix and saying like, "I don't think Netflix is going to be upset because your 12 3-minute fight, your 12 round 3-minute fight, it wasn't good. It was boring. This thing about that, hey, we'll get no more knockouts and everything. And to a certain degree, they're probably right as the rounds go on, right? You get a little bit more fatigue. But at least for that, when Amanda was in a 12 rounder, 3-minute fight, yeah, I mean, I didn't hear anybody talk about it, dog, other than the fact that it was just, oh, it's the women are gonna fight 12 rounds. But outside of that, I didn't hear anybody say like, oh man, it was a good fight, or oh man, you know what, we gotta see that fight again, or something like, nah, it was boring. It was boring.
follow up for Katie. When she
Next
says
question, please.
when she says the world knows that she won the fight, does that bother you?
I'm uninterested in what Amanda says about the fight. I'm only interested in what the judges say about the fight. And I am 2-0 here.
Listen, that's understandable, but the world has eyes. The world has eyes. They saw what they saw. It sucks that it takes 3 judges, 3 people who see something completely different, but millions of people saw it another way.
Amanda is 100% correct on this. She is 100% correct on this. Now, Katie, she can go ahead and be spitting what she was spitting, homie, talking about like, oh, Amanda, you need this fight more than I do. I'm not so sure about that, Katie, because if you're really 2-0, if you really believe that you are 2-0, why this third fight? Why this third fight? Now, I mean, hey, you get paid, you get paid. Easily just said like, I'm getting paid. That's why. And that's a good enough reason. Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm simply saying, like, okay, if you won the first two fights, why is the boxing world clamoring for a third fight? Why are people still interested in a third fight? Because if you won the both two fights hands down, why would anybody be interested in this third fight? So I'll get to what I thought about the fights in a second.
Even with the ridiculous point deduction during that fight, the three judges still saw my way. I was a deserved winner, and here we are again, having a silly conversation because you're trying to create a narrative that you're robbing that fight. That's not okay, Amanda.
I never said I was robbed. I just said the
Terrible
judges didn't see
decision.
it my way.
All right, this conversation will continue, but I do want to ask Ellie a question. Ellie, welcome.
All right, all right, all right. All right, let me take this down. Okay. All right, man. So look, here, okay, when the first time they fought each other, it was probably the best women's fight I've ever seen. All right. Um, I was so damn impressed. And when they were gonna fight again, I was like, oh heck yeah, man, we gotta do this again. The first time they fought, I did have Katie Taylor winning. A lot of people had Amanda Serrano win. Okay. And Amanda did rock Katie Taylor in that first fight. She had her drunk. She did, man. She was stumbling around. She won some pretty good rounds pretty easily. All right. But all that being said, judging it round by round, I still had Katie Taylor winning that fight. Great fight. Come the second fight, which took place last year. Okay. I know when it took place because it took place on my birthday, November 15th. It was a good fight. Here's the thing. I like Katie Taylor. Okay, I do. I'm not gonna lie and say I'm a huge fan of women's boxing, but I've been becoming more and more of a fan. And one person that I do like is Katie Taylor. Now, Katie Taylor's like 38 years old already. Amanda Serrano's not far behind. I think she's like 36. Katie Taylor, who I'm a fan of, was doing some straight dirty movidas in the second fight. And I called it out. I called it out. She's over there leading with her head, rushing with her head. She's like putting her head down, dog, going in like a freaking rhinoceros. And it worked. It worked because she went ahead and she busted Amanda Serrano open. And I thought it was some dirty ass moves, and the referee didn't do a damn thing about it. Once he said something about it, it was way too late. I was pissed at the ref. In all reality, man, I thought Katie probably should have even been disqualified for doing that so much. Anyway, it goes the distance. They give it Katie Taylor. I'm pretty upset at the end of the fight. It was a good fight, not like the first one. But now the fact that they're doing it again, I'm happy with it. I am. I'm happy with it. And a lot of things that were said back and forth with them, they both have good points. Look, Katie Taylor, she could come on and say, like, I'm the champ. You don't get to dictate. You don't get to dictate what the stipulation should be, whether how many rounds we should go. You're coming to challenge me, okay? I'm the champ. So I do understand that. All that being said, man, I respect Amanda Serrano wanting to do these, 12 3-minute rounds. But in reality, man, I don't really want them to go 12 3-minute rounds. To me, women's boxing is more interesting with 10 2-minute rounds. It is. I've heard I've heard other I've heard other guys come on and say like, "Oh man, it should be 3 minutes," because once you're getting, close to the end of the second minute, like, man, the round's just getting good, and then the round's over, and I'm like, yeah, well, the round's just getting good, homie, because it's the end of the round, and they know that. You give them an extra minute. Why don't we? If they go 5 minutes, you think it's just gonna get good at the end of the second minute? No. So I personally, I hope they keep it 10 2-minute rounds. I really don't think it makes a difference to the interest of women's boxing. Like I said earlier, I really don't think if they change the rule and say, okay, women from now on, they can fight 3-minute rounds. Now they can fight up to 12 rounds. Oh man, now here comes the flood of people to watch women's boxing now, because that's the only reason they weren't watching boxing. That's why they did not tune into women's boxing, because they weren't going 3 minutes, because they were going 10 rounds instead of 12. Like, no, 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 no. You either like it or you don't. So in this one, in all reality, like I said, I'm a fan of Katie Taylor, but the fact that she was doing some dirty ass moves last time around really pissed me off. I kind of want Amanda Serrano to win this fight now. And they were asked, I didn't show it right here, but they were asked, at least Amanda was, she was asked if she wins, will they do it again because Katie's 2-0? And Amanda said, no, that's it. This is it. This is it for her. Now, Katie Taylor she's in quite the position, man. She can really do some history here, or make some history, I should say, because she can have two trilogies. Because she had two back-to-back fights with Chantal Cameron, which were some badass fights too, by the way. That could have gone either way. She lost the first one and she won the second one, and right from there she jumped into the fight with to the second fight with Amanda Serrano. So I like this. This is going down July 11th on Netflix. It is an all women's card. I think something like this would put women's boxing on the map more than we need to change it to 3-minute rounds. Honestly, I don't think that brings any more interest to women's boxing. None. Something like this, don't get me wrong, I don't think this would bring a flood of people to come watch women's boxing, but I think it sparks more interest in women's boxing, as opposed to, let's go from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. I really don't think anybody else will tune in. Whoever doesn't tune into women's boxing, I really don't think will tune in if they heard, oh, they go 3 minutes now. Whoever doesn't tune into women's boxing now, I really don't believe they'll tune in if they hear, oh, they go 12 rounds now. Oh, man. Now they go 3 minutes a round? Now I got to watch. Oh, the fight doesn't hit the ceiling at 10 rounds? We don't hear the final bell? We don't hear the final bell to the 12th round? Oh, now I got to watch. No. No. Now, if you want to talk about Feria, Cool. Talk about money. Money is what's going to make it popular. And in reality, I think you keep it at 2 minutes, there's going to be a little bit more action going on. Less time to be in there and feeling each other out, dancing around, just thinking in the ring. I actually like this. So, man, I am definitely going to be tuning in. This is going to be on a Friday, too, by the way, man. Madison Square Garden, an all women's card, headline with the trilogy of Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. And I should mention this. Amanda Serrano is the one that has always been moving up to fight Katie Taylor. You definitely got to give that to Amanda Serrano. Both of these ladies, man, have gone in there and put in some damn good fights. I really became a fan of Katie Taylor. I mean, I like Amanda Serrano too, don't get me wrong, dog. But I really became a fan of Katie Taylor after the first fight that she had with Amanda Serrano. I had seen her fight like 2 times before that, and I was just like barely kind of getting to know her and being like, oh, okay, all right, cool, man. And then ever since then, I started seeing all her fights. I started her fights against Chantal Cameron, and I've been rooting. I became a fan of hers. But because she was doing those dirty ass movidas last fight, and by the way, she came into this press conference with a little attitude, with like a little bit, pumping her chest out a little bit, like, "Hey, I'm the champ here. I'm the champ. I'm 2-0. You need me," which wasn't bad. Wasn't bad. But honestly, man, I'm kind of rooting a little bit more for Amanda Serrano this time around. I really am. I really am. That second fight, I think Amanda was done wrong. Katie Taylor, as nice of a girl that everybody says she is, she did some dirty ass movidas in that second fight, and now I want Amanda Serrano to win, and I want Katie Taylor to give Chantel Cameron a trilogy, and she'll go down as the first woman not only to have a trilogy, but to have 2 trilogies, good trilogies, by the way, because the fights with Chantel Cameron were badass as well, dog. So I'm tuned into this. July 11th, I will be watching. Love it, dog. I think this is gonna be good, man. Shout outs to Jake Paul for making this stuff happen. I'm digging it, man. I'm becoming more and more of a fan. And it's things like this. It's not the whole let's change the minutes on the round or let's give them more rounds. No, it's things like this that needs to be pumping this part of boxing, the women's side of boxing. And I'm glad it's these 2 ladies too. I'll end it with that. I'm glad it's these 2 ladies that are getting this recognition as opposed to some other hyenas out there, man. I'm glad it's these 2 ladies. But I'll be watching. July 11th. Let's do this, man. All right, Cholo Trucker, Los Tres Chingones Boxing. Shouts to all the chingones y chingonas. Catch you guys on next round.